Welcome to Awakening Spirituality and our meditation this evening. Um, I'm going to talk a little bit first about meditation. And one of the questions that we often get is, how can meditation help when we're filled with feelings of overwhelm or worry, anxiety, or sadness, or whatever we're feeling? And meditation creates a safe container where we can accept and begin to make friends with our feelings, both for ourselves and for each other, instead of judging or hiding from difficult feelings. And of course, there's many different types of meditation, many different tools for doing this. There's certainly a lot of talk about trauma these days. And we used to think of trauma as related to just one traumatic event. However, lately psychologists are developing a much more expanded definition of trauma to include anything that overwhelms our capacity to respond in the moment. And there's also many kinds of trauma. There's acute trauma from one specific event. There's chronic or cumulative trauma that goes on over time, complex trauma, developmental trauma from our formative years, ancestral trauma that is inherited, collective trauma of events that affect a community or larger population. There's also a wide range of responses or reactivity, whether it's through emotional outbursts, numbing and shutdown, substance abuse, reckless behaviors, or just keeping ourselves too busy and distracted. So trauma and stress involve physical reactions to a real or imagined threat. And so I think it's really important these days to have practices that can help self-regulate and soothe our nervous system so that we don't get stuck in the sense of hyperdrive in fight, flight, or freeze, or not have time to process our feelings. We need practices that cultivate the parasympathetic response, so the body can respond to crisis or to stress without staying on high. And of course, these practices take time and discipline and hard work. And I believe being in a supportive community like this. And we need a consistent practice on the mat or the cushion. So breathing, meditation, yoga, etc. But we also need a few skills off the mat, some resources and skills for daily life. And one of those resources is just to bring yourself back to your breath, or to bring yourself back to feeling and sensing through all of your senses. So a few weeks ago, I taught my first in-person yoga and meditation retreat since this pandemic began over 2 years ago. Wow. And it was also the first time I taught since a serious accident I had last fall. And I just felt such immense gratitude to be able to stand on my own 2 feet, literally. We practiced a bit of tree pose too, so I was standing on one leg, so pretty amazing, miraculous. And it was also so lovely to be with my students again. So the retreat was called Nurture Your Roots, Rooted, Growing, and Connected, and was all about connecting to the wisdom of trees. So this evening, I'm going to try to distill just a tiny bit of what we explored in a whole day into our hour-and-a-half session that we have this evening. And so one of the ways we can become more grounded is by paying attention to how we connect with the earth, whether we're standing, sitting, or lying down. Of course, if we're walking or standing, we connect through our feet, and that can be very empowering. A few years ago, I was at a meditation retreat where whenever we heard the bell ring, we were to stop and ask ourselves, where's my feet? And feel and sense our feet connected to the earth. It was a very powerful practice for me. And I've begun to make that habit in my daily life to try and stop the mad rush when I'm busy and just take a moment to stand and breathe. And so finding little moments during our day where we can just connect to our body, connect to the earth, and just be with what's arising in the moment. And so this evening, I want to start with a bit of a standing practice. And these are practices that you can do anytime, anywhere. And this particular practice is good for preparing us for sitting still in meditation. It's quite often very difficult to come out of the busyness of our life and then sit still in meditation. So hopefully this kind of eases us into it. It's also filled with practices that will help to regulate our nervous system, connect us to our body, plug us back into the present moment. So I'm going to invite you to stand up, and I'm going to stand up as well. Now, if you have shoes on, it's nice if you can take your shoes off and even maybe take your socks off so you really get a sense for the ground here. If that's not possible, that's fine. If you want to leave your shoes on, you're in your own home, do what you want to. So you're going to be standing in what we call mountain pose in yoga. So you're standing with your feet about hip width apart and parallel. I'm going to invite you just to begin with, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just have a sense of settling into the space where you're standing. And just take a moment to notice how you arrive. How does your body feel? What's the state of your mind? Maybe even notice the quality of your breath. And so one of our first practices is going to be like the leaves of a tree shaking in the wind. We're going to start with our hands. And of course, just releasing anything you're holding from your day. And you can let that move right up into your arms and right up into your shoulders. And then start to feel how your whole body wants to get in on this shaking. So shaking is a really good practice for kind of shaking off our day, shaking off stress. It grounds us. It helps clear stuck energy. You're going to keep your feet grounded though. So your feet are going to stay where they are, and it's the rest of your body, your hips, your shoulders. And guess what? Quite often it's really hard to let go of our head. So I encourage you to just let your head go, unless you have some cervical or neck problems. So just be aware of that. And if you live in a body that has some pain in it, then just let it be a light shake. So again, adjusting the practice for you and just really allowing everything to release. We know when animals, like when dogs are stressed, they give that shake, they shake it off. I think we humans can learn a lot from animals and plants and trees. So just feel your leaves shaking in the wind. So important to have these embodied practices. All right, now this is the best part. Just let yourself come back to just standing still. It's almost like there's a settling of that energy, a release. And you might even want to take a deep breath in and all the way out. Beautiful. And then take your feet a little bit wider apart and just add an easy twist from side to side. So this is a really nice way to release the back and the spine. And especially if you've been sitting a lot at a computer, let your head just naturally follow the way that your body is twisting. Feel your breath. Feel those nice releases, the vertebrae in your spine, the back. Now we're going to add a little bit of a tap, a fist to our rib cage, and a sound. So it's going to go ha, ha. So I've got my hands in light fists, and I'm just hitting my rib cage, ha, 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 ha. So sound can be a really good release as well. Ha, 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 ha. Keep going. This is also just kind of clearing any congestion from our rib cage and our lungs as well. So we'll be able to focus with a little bit more ease on our breath in our practice. Ha, 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 ha. Let go of the fist. Just let yourself kind of twist a little tiny bit. Let yourself slow down until you find yourself back at center. Place your feet hip width apart and parallel. And again, just take a moment to notice, maybe take a deeper breath in, feel that sense of settling the bones down through your legs and your feet, this connection to the ground. And then one last practice. Imagine an apple tree in front of you, and it's loaded with fruit. And so we're going to take a little side stretch. So just stretching one arm up and just grab for that apple, bring it back down, and then reach up with the other arm, grab. So again, we just opened up a little bit through the rib cage with our twisting and with our fisting. And just feel that lovely sense of opening up through the side body and the side rib cage. A few more. Last time. Ooh, let your arms settle down. Feel that space in your side body. Really open that up now. Take a nice deep centering breath all the way in, all the way out and down through the soles of your feet into the ground. And now you've become that apple tree. Imagine growing those deep roots into Mother Earth. And breathe in that nourishing energy from Mother Earth. Let it fill your whole body. Take a few more breaths. Feeling your connection to the earth through your feet. Knees are soft. Relax any tension in your body. And notice what it feels like to just stand still in the midst of the busyness of our lives. Beautiful. So I'm going to invite you now to sit down either on a chair, or if you're used to sitting cross-legged on a cushion, you can do that. The most important thing is for you to be comfortable in this practice. So if you're sitting in a chair, make sure that your feet planted on the ground. You still want to feel those roots. You want to feel that sense of rooting down into the earth, however you're sitting, while at the same time you have a sense of lengthening upwards through your spine and through the crown of the head. Gently roll your shoulders up and down. You want to create kind of this sense of upliftment in your chest, in your heart center. And we did lots of work this evening, opening up through the rib cage. And so we'll start this part of our meditation with the sound of a bell. Thich Nhat Hanh says, the sound of the bell invites us home to our true self. And so perhaps taking a deep breath in. And as you exhale, feel that sense of the weight of your body settling into your chair or your cushion. And after our standing practice, feel yourself a little bit more embodied, a little bit more here. And feel the rhythm of your own breath rising and falling, ebbing and flowing. The miracle of breathing. Quite often we come with some kind of agenda to our practice based on expectations or past practices or what we've heard about meditation. And I invite you to let that go. Come back to what we call beginner mind. Neutral, empty, open. And know that meditation is not something we can rush or hurry. It takes time and practice to drop into this quiet, receptive space. Poet David White, in his poem Winter Apple, speaks of the nobility of quiet, which fruit ripening demands. And that's the feeling essence of a meditation practice, this slow ripening over time. So be patient, be kind to yourself, let go of judgment. Trust in the seeds you're sowing just by showing up. And so simply bring awareness to the beautiful power of the breath. Breathing in, aware that you're breathing in. Breathing out, aware that you're breathing out. In, out. And feel this movement as a reciprocal energy exchange between you and trees. Imagine a tree you love or are familiar with. And this beautiful tree generously breathing out the gift of oxygen and life to you. All trees, a forest of trees, the whole planet. And so receive this gift of life as you inhale and sending back gratitude as you exhale. Receive as you breathe in. Gratitude as you breathe out. Falling into a natural rhythm. And bring awareness to the feeling of the breath in your belly. As you breathe in, the belly gently expands. As you breathe out, the belly gently softens. And just let that be your focus of attention for now. The breath in your abdomen. And every time you exhale, feel that sense of softening inwards. So softening the skin on the abdomen, softening through all the muscles, softening through the inner organs. Feeling the breath in the abdomen. Now let your awareness sink deeper into your pelvis. And feel the breath down into the hips, into the buttocks, and encourage that sense of settling and heaviness of your pelvis into your chair or your cushion. And imagine sitting on the warm, moist earth in the middle of a forest. And feel yourself softening into the earth. Roots growing down into the soil, through the sandy shale, and deep into the core of Mother Earth herself. And imagine receiving the healing energy from Mother Earth through your roots. So every time you breathe in that energy up through your spine to your heart center. And as you breathe out, breathing out that sense of heaviness and softening and ripening into Mother Earth. So inhale, breathing in and up the spine. Exhale, releasing and softening. Trusting you are held and nourished by Mother Earth. And so we're just going to stay with that breath visualization and just sit quietly. Thoughts will come and thoughts will go, and just acknowledge that and come back to this sense of breathing in the earth energy and settling back into the earth. Feeling yourself softening and ripening into the earth. And now perhaps feel yourself sitting up a little bit taller. And bring awareness to the crown of the head. And feel the crown of the head softening, opening to the sky above. And now imagine roots growing from your head into the sky like an upside down tree, receiving the love and wisdom from universal consciousness, the great mystery. And so as you breathe in, imagine breathing that energy, the vast energy of the sky, in through the crown of your head and right down into your heart center. As you breathe out, it flows back up into the sky. And just stay with that visualization for a few moments. Breathing in the vastness of the sky into your heart center. Breathing back out that sense of gratitude. The next time you breathe in, just breathe right into your heart center and stay there, rooted in your heart center. And just feel a sense of the breath creating space in the heart center, dissolving some of the constriction we sometimes feel around our hearts. And feel the energy of earth and sky meeting in your heart center. You are both the clay of the earth and the vastness of the sky, body and spirit, form and formless. And know that you are ripening into the fruit of this knowing, the oneness of all. So take a moment and move and stretch a little bit. Maybe roll your shoulders, maybe turn your head, whatever you need to do to release and be comfortable. But staying in this meditative state as you listen to the poem that I was talking about by David White called Winter Apple. So I love poetry. It's a way of expressing metaphor, symbolism. It's a way of sometimes expressing what really can't be said or understood. And this is one of those poems, I think. So we're going to read it in what we call Lectio Divina style from the Christian tradition, which means we're going to read it slowly and we're going to listen for words or phrases that really seem to resonate with us. One of my teachers said, words that sparkle or glisten for you. So I encourage you to listen for that. And we're going to be reading it at least 2 times, maybe a third time. But I'm going to start reading it for the first time, and you're just going to listen to my words. At another point, you'll have the words to look at on screen. But for now, just listen with your whole body and being. Let the apple ripen on the branch beyond your need to take it down. Let the coolness of autumn and the breathing, blowing wind test its adherence to endurance. Let the others fall. Wait longer than you would. Go against yourself. Find the pale nobility of quiet that ripening demands. Watch with patience as the silhouette emerges and the leaves fall. See it become a solitary roundness against a graying sky. Let winter come and the first frost threaten. Then wake one morning to see the breath of winter has haloed its redness with light. So that a full 2 months after you should have taken the apple down, you hold it in your closed hand at last and bite into the cool sweetness spread evenly through every single atom of a pale and yielding structure. So that you taste on that cold gray day not only the after reward of a patience remembered, not only the summer sunlight of a postponed perfection, but the sweet inward stillness of the wait itself. Just taking a moment, let those words sink in. And think about what maybe words or phrases spoke to you. And then I think Mary Jean is going to put the words up on the screen. Sometimes for people that are more visual, it's helpful to have the words there. What was that word? What was that phrase? I was going to say it was also helpful if you have a pen and paper. We might have a little journaling reflection, but wait until after the second reading if you don't have that close by. So Mary Jean, are you able to screen share that?
I have a technical challenge here. That was going to be easy. And let me see if this is going to work.
Do you want to try making me co-host, and then maybe I can share it.
I can do that.
I just have to
Might be
find it.
easier. I have not used this computer to share before, and so it's giving me grief. There you go.
All right. Now I just have to get my screens all lined up. Okay, can everybody see that? Yes? Good. All right, so I'll read and you can read along as you see the words. Winter apple. Let the apple ripen on the branch beyond your need to take it down. Let the coolness of autumn and the breathing, blowing wind test its adherence to endurance. Let the others fall. Wait longer than you would. Go against yourself. Find the pale nobility of quiet that ripening demands. Watch with patience as the silhouette emerges and the leaves fall. See it become a solitary roundness against a graying sky. Let winter come and the first frost threaten. Then wake one morning to see the breath of winter has haloed its redness with light, so that a full 2 months after you should have taken the apple down, you hold it in your closed hand at last and bite into the cool sweetness spread evenly through every single atom of a pale and yielding structure. So that you taste on that cold gray day not only the after reward of a patience remembered, not only the summer sunlight of a postponed perfection, but the sweet inward stillness of the wait itself. Beautiful words, just let them sink in. And so we're going to take about 5 minutes for you to reflect, write, draw, however you want to do this. And then after that, we'll move into some breakout rooms. So I think we'll end the recording now and say thank you for joining us if you've joined on the recording, and namaste. So thank you.